Conversations with Friends. Conversations with Friends.
Conversations with Friends.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Tonight is our season 2, episode 3 of Conversations with Friends. And tonight's topic is the 5 love languages based off of Dr. Gary Chapman's book. And we have our resident returning guests, Treasure and Elliot, joining us tonight. And we definitely appreciate them coming on. Um, Co-host Melodic is very dark right now because she's out and about in the car. Hopefully she'll turn her inside light on so we can see that pretty face. But tonight we're going to discuss love languages, the 5 love languages, and
Yeah.
how they apply. People may have more than 5. Um, People may not agree with the love languages, but we're just going to discuss the 5 love languages. What's going on, everyone?
What?
Oh, hello.
Oh, we're unfortunately, you guys, 2 weeks ago we were supposed to have a show, but we weren't feeling well, and we're here on this beautiful football Sunday, right, Elliot,
Yeah.
to discuss this stuff. And I appreciate you coming on. It's very hard on most people don't realize football Sunday. Um, for most people that are football fans, is near and dear to them. So to get anybody to come on the show, watch the show, and be a part of it is definitely appreciated and thankful.
Yeah, Treasure was really sad about this. She's didn't get to watch her football today. I'm
Well,
more of a reader myself, so it
okay. Just throw her right up under the bus, huh?
It's a
all in
religion
love.
in this house. That's all.
It's tough love, bro. What can I say?
So the 5 love languages from 1 through 5, according to Dr. Gary Chapman, are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Let's Melodic. How would you like to start off the show discussing these beautiful 5 love languages?
Okay. So I would like to start off the show by saying if you don't know your partner's love language, it's very difficult for you sometimes people don't even know that you're showing them love, because if they don't receive love the way that you're giving it, then they can't even tell whether or not you love them, because to you that's love, but to them it's not love. And I think that a lot of people need to pay attention to what your partner's love language is, and actually have this conversation. um I think that you need to be open and honest, and you need to let people know what makes you feel loved, because we've all been raised differently.
Mm-hmm. Proceed.
We've all been raised differently. So in all honesty, I feel like, excuse me, just because something, like prime example, my love language is words of affirmation and quality time. To tell you the toss up between the two, I don't. It's like,
Oh, you done threw your 2 out there from the door.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think we should all throw ours out there. Let's go, Treasure.
Elliot, Treasure.
I'm heavy on the 1, 2, and 3. So that's words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts. My partner is heavy on the 4 and 5. So I feel like we all encompass all of them, but I think we always lean very heavily towards the ones that we hold near and dear, of course. I'm big on acts of service. That's my jam. Um, but when you're with your partner, that might not be your partner's jam. That might not be their thing. Also, when you have a partner that is very big on physical touch and quality time, and that is not what you've been accustomed to in your relationships, that can take getting used to. So that was a huge learning curve for me.
So are you saying that you're not affectionate, Treasure?
No, I had to learn how
Oh,
to be affectionate with my partner. So, because everybody's different. So
okay.
I've never had someone be like want to be in my space that much.
Okay.
So when
So
someone generally shows
how do you,
that they
how do you receive love?
um very much still learning. Um because I feel like once you stop learning and you stop remaining teachable, especially as it pertains to love and your relationships, it's doomed. I feel like you should always be constantly learning the differences because people change their minds as well. So you can have a partner who's very big on quality time and physical touch. Then 10 years down the road, they may really be into words of affirmation or acts of service. They may completely change their mind, and they have a right to that. You have to be able to be adaptable and be willing to kind of ebb and flow with them as they learn about themselves too, and what that looks like.
Okay. So the way you give love is acts of service, correct?
Yes. It's also my preference now for receiving is definitely quality time and words of affirmation.
Okay.
When receiving, giving, yes, acts of service, that's at the tippy tip top.
Okay.
Because I love doing stuff for people. I'm big on holidays and trips and outings for that reason. I make things a very big deal, birthdays, all of that, because that's just my jam.
One of the things that and I'll jump out that proverbial window. I think I have six, and the sixth one will be leave my ass alone. And I say that to an extent of laughter, to you guys as well as myself. But I say it jokingly, but I mean that. I mean it to the point of I believe for me at a certain age, I required a certain amount of space and peace of mind. Those five things, I believe that as you get older, you understand and try to get to know your partner better each week, each month. If you're in love or you believe that you're in love, you got to get to know their love language because if they're, I think that sometimes with myself, my love language and their love language could be like two negatives, putting a negative and a positive not together,
Mhm,
putting two positives together, and then it just be straight combustion.
mhm,
Um, and it leads to trying to get so selfish to a point where you trying to get people to understand you instead of you not understanding them.
mhm,
So I think for me is for me now is not to be so selfish that in a way and just be like, you know what, let me understand this situation because I believe these love language outside of the physical part, they don't have to be relationship wise. It's a weird thing. That's just my personal opinion. I know some people be like, nah, you don't. I think we need to love is like an action, so you have to foster it at any given time. You have to put into it. For lack of better words. Elliot, you real quiet today.
Yes. Get what's
sometimes I
going
just like
on.
to. Sometimes I just like to. I don't like to be one of them guys like feel like I'm butting in on people while they trying to talk. So I'll make sure and thoroughly listen to everybody what they got to say. I I never really like with love languages and stuff. I never even thought about that in regards to myself or like defined like how I act with my partner as such. Or like this is acts of service, so that must be me. Or I like to think that you know, at different points, you know, receive all of those things and give all of those things. There's times where, if it's about acts of service, to me, that's just what your duty is in a relationship. That's inherently a part of what everybody, how everybody should be defined as far as the love language is through acts of service because that's what it means to have a partner and to to take care of things that they need taken care of, to help them in ways that they can't help themselves, and vice versa. Um, Touch, physical touch. I like to think that that's a part of, something wrong if like if I don't like to give that to my partner, or I don't like to receive it, from my partner. So those two things off rip, to me, is something that's, in my opinion, is universal, or I feel like it should be, um, to have a successful, relationship that lasts over time. What was the other three? It was physical touch. It was acts of service. It
Words
was
of
what, gifts,
affirmation.
Gifts,
words of
Gift,
affirmation.
quality time.
quality time. There you go. Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
what's
I
number
feel like
six,
all those.
Q? What's number
Like
six? Hold up.
my number 6 is leave my ass alone.
Okay.
No, knowing when,
Yeah.
knowing when your partner needs that time to decompress for themselves. Long day at work, coming home, knowing how to let that person, kind of get the funk and the the muck of the day off of them without being too much like adding on to the pressure and the BS of the day, making that person want to be like, I can't wait to get home, to and not even saying get, but just to be around that person, give me what I need in that way. Um, Words of
Uh,
affirmation is, I think, again, for me, I'm always trying to talk up my partner. I'm always trying to make them feel secure in who they are and make them believe in what they are and believe in that they are beautiful. I've been in relationships in this one currently where you wouldn't believe how many beautiful people think that they're not beautiful and how much they need to hear that. And it would be like, come on, like you joking, right? Like I ain't entertaining this because you look fine. But then you have to teach yourself like, no, they need to hear that sometimes. Even if they like, come out, bellow the ball, they need to hear that sometimes. So because of the way I am, I don't adhere to that kind of stuff that much. I feel like it should be innate in a good relationship, but so I don't like defining myself as any of those things. But I'm starting to see more and more, being with Treasure, how that stuff is important, for her.
well, that's great when your partner brings out the best in you. What more can you ask for?
What about let me ask you guys a question. What about if you're in a situation where um somebody may not feel that good about themselves and they don't want to have number 5, physical touch. They don't feel attractive. They don't feel, as we would say, sexy. They don't want to be touched, and that's like one of your love languages. And then it's like a crossroads. What do you guys think? From experience, because I always try to say experience is the best teacher. From experience, would be the best way to handle that.
It's tough. Uh, it's tough.
I think the best way to handle that is to get to the root of it. What's behind that?
Yeah, and to not take it so personal, and that not jumping into the conclusion that that has somehow something to do with you, or that you're inadequate, in a way because that person doesn't want you to give that to them in that time. It's hard not to internalize that. Like, there's been times with Treasure, has gone through that, and I'm like, well, what's the like? You start to think, and being dealing with
El-
trauma and stuff like that, you start to
El-
think,
Elliot, let me ask you, right? Because one of the things that we try to do is to not let people know certain things with the show. And I mean you said who your wife is on the show, and I don't want to make it seem like you are telling people too much of your business, but let me ask you as a man. right? I come to you and be like, bro, I, you know, my wife gained some weight, man, and she won't give me no pie. Um, but I'm taking it the wrong way. I'm taking it as rejection. As men, Elliot, like, bro, I don't feel good. Like I'm telling you, like, bro, just say, like, it then it messes with your mate's self esteem. Like you said, we'll start internalizing it as well. And then, how would you think we should handle that as definitely men? Because I know a lot of us go through that.
Well, going back to what Nick said, you have to try to have the conversation. You trying to have the conversation doesn't mean the conversation is going to happen unless the person's unless they're willing to have it back with you, unless they're willing to actually talk. And that's just a matter of communication between you and your partner, trust between you and your partner. But they may not even want to talk about it. You may have to really, take a step back, and not even address it for a day or two. Come back to it, a couple days down the line. And it's hard because everything is like everything is fast, quick.
Yeah,
we want our answers right then, right now.
and you may get
I
that.
mean,
You may
like,
get that saying, "Well, I don't want to talk about it right now."
yeah.
What do you
And
Well,
mean you don't
now,
want to talk about it
yeah,
right now?
now it's awkward, or y'all in the
but
bed or whatever. It's awkward,
that's the
but
thing.
you gotta
Sometimes
live with that and
people,
get that support.
that's the thing. Sometimes people are processing,
Yeah.
and just because you're ready to talk about something, that does not necessarily mean that your partner's ready to talk about it. But I feel like with communication, you should still be like, okay, this is something that we will revisit, but right now, I don't have the space to take this on right now. So we need to come back to that, and we both need to be understanding of each other's needs. Um, I feel like, excuse me, in all honesty, um, I do get it where a man would say, "Oh, I feel rejected because you didn't want to do this or do that or what have you." But again, like I said, get to the root of it and find out what the issue is. I also suggest going to couples therapy. I think that can be very helpful within relationships. I've done it before.
I think it
What
all
did you
comes
do
down
it,
to
and your partner was willing to do it with you?
I did. Yes, absolutely.
And then they were like totally fine with that.
Yep, totally fine with it.
I don't mind trying anything. I don't like. It's not like, oh, I'm opposed to anything. You know. I just with counseling, I've always asked myself, am I going to have a conversation with someone that I could have had with my partner? Like, I have to feel like it's worth my time and energy to go. I'm not just sitting
Sometimes,
there with my partner having a
okay,
semi-fake conversation that ain't gonna yield no results. I've always felt like that
okay.
definitely in the past. I'll be open more to it now though, for sure.
Sometimes you need a neutral third party.
Mhm.
Sometimes we, just as human beings, we're very set in our ways, and sometimes we can take things the wrong way, and that goes for both spouses. And excuse me, sometimes you need that neutral party to say, hey, wait a minute, because you couldn't even hear what the other person was saying because there's so much water under the bridge that you're defensive. You don't really listen. You listen to respond, but you're not absorbing what the person is saying, that hey, this is really bothering me, and this is something that we really, really need to work on. Um, Little things build up. It's like a tumbleweed, and it can actually completely break down your relationship and cause cause you to break up, etc.
So
So,
melodic, so melodic.
mhm,
Will we say that what even trumps words of affirmation would be a love language is communication,
absolutely. I
is
think
having that
community.
communication and being which I know is hard for a lot of people. Some people never experience it in their life to be 100% vulnerable with their mate. and realizing that maybe that mate it needs to be is that mate your best friend? You got some people be like, oh, my mate ain't my best friend. Well, that may be speaking of other issues of maybe your mate need to be your best friend and vice versa, so you could have that level of vulnerability, so you could have that level of communication where you could say things and that it's really coming from a place of love and not a place of anger, hurt, rejection, because those lines of communication is not crossed. What do you
Yeah.
think, Elliot?
Yo, are you like ain't nothing funny, man.
I'm just
No,
messing with you, bro.
no. It's it's tough to be as honest as you want to be, even when that's what's needed for a situation to thrive. The the communication lines that we all say we need. Sometimes you got to know. All right, well, maybe this conversation that I would like to have with my partner is probably not what we're talking about, and what needs to be said probably isn't best coming from me, because it's gonna be perceived as an attack. And maybe it takes a third party separate from the situation to say, well, you know what, I kind of, because it's coming from me, it's gonna seem like I'm attacking you, and this, that, and the third. I mean, but and it varies from person to person. It
And the
varies from
and the
relationship to
reason why I brought
relationship.
that up, the reason why I brought it up, Elliot, is because you hear a lot of people always talk about number five, the physical touch, the and not just the act of sex. We're talking about the affection, the cuddling. Some people aren't cuddlers. They'll be like, even when I say my little extra six, get away from me.
Mhm.
That doesn't indicate I'm not a cuddler. That just indicates something else that I just like my space. So getting to know your mate and your love language, like you kind of know,
Yeah,
like it's kind of a feel, like as they say, the energy in the room, and you'd be like, let me go back outside the house and come back in, like I just came back in from work, and maybe try again. So you try to do all types of different tricks. So you, like I said, you always hear a lot of people, definitely in our age group,
yeah.
going through number
I had to
five.
naturally. I mean, I never looked at it as that's my love language though. I never, I any more of a love language than an act of service or giving a gift. I feel like I've kind of mixed all of them together, and there isn't one or two that stand out above the rest for me.
It was just
So
something
like,
that you
I've been
as a
like
man
that.
did.
I've been one person or another, or the other throughout the entire relationship.
Okay.
But
Most of
they're
my
definitely
relationships.
ranked, aren't they? I mean,
Hmm.
they're definitely ranked. I mean, I feel like you can't give 100% on each one, and it has to be like this is number one, this is number two, number three. They're consecutively like ranked at this is the most important. I guess that's you know uh what I how I feel. My other question is, well, it's not really a question, it's a statement. I was told, I was given advice from an elder, and I was told that when you get married, you should always, in regards to physical touch, because physical touch is probably like number five for me. But I was told that when you get married, you should, or when you wake up, kiss your partner. When you leave the house, kiss your partner. When you come into the house, you greet your partner and you kiss your partner. The elder said to me, that makes you, it softens each other's heart. It softens his heart and it softens your heart, so that you're open to receive whatever you know either one of you has to give to each other. I think that was a great I think that was great advice.
Yeah, I do that. Um, it's uh, just a natural or innate part of what I do every day. Every day, I get up, I leave out the door, I kiss my partner, tell her I love her, and it's not necessarily. I feel like in this day and age, where people is getting laid down out here, you know, taking for granted that you're gonna come home. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So if it's the last thing you ever heard me say, or if it's the last thing you ever doubted, I'm gonna let you know before I go out into this crazy, cruel world that I love you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it ain't even got nothing to do with the relationship or the love languages. That's just, seeing how many people don't get to have that luxury, or they took that for
Absolutely.
granted that they'd be coming back home, and they never came back. So I've seen that personally. So I that's the reasons why I make sure my partner, you know, receives that, and I give that
I had a
every day.
friend that I had a friend that when he actually did a show with me, and he did a video, and he said that was one of his things is that he realizes um that it was a choice that his wife comes home to him every day. She
Mm,
don't have to choose to come home. And he
mm.
said for him, that's what makes him appreciative of his wife because she chooses to come back home every day when she goes out to work and stuff. And he appreciates the fact that she makes that choice that's great for them every single day. And I think that like Elliot said, um definitely for men, man. And I can't Elliot can't say it enough. With so much uncertainty when you walk outside the door, you should tell your people, your mate that you love them and how you feel about them because you never know that it could be the last time that you come back.
Yeah, I think about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said absolutely.
Um, I think about things. Like Treasure been, I've been getting on Treasure nerves with this, but it's been this 6-part documentary on 9/11 that I watched for about 2 weeks straight, and I'm fascinated because I went to high school in Hoboken, so I remember what that day was like, being right there by Stevens Institute, having to catch the PATH train back to Newark. And I think about stuff like that. I think about these people got on a train and they worked the world and everything, and then all of a sudden some crazy idiot flies an airplane to a building, they never go home. Like, think about waking up that morning and think about the moment right as you see a plane flying into a building and you in it and there's nowhere for you to go. And imagine if you didn't say, or if you had argued with your partner that morning, or if y'all were on bad terms. Imagine how devastating that would be, you know? So I don't take nothing for granted. I've
Let
seen
me
too much,
let me
too much.
ask you guys about receiving gifts. Gifts. Melodic, what's so funny? You got this smile on your
Uh,
face. Gifts.
because you and I have had this conversation so many times, and you know that I do not value. I mean, I think everybody likes gifts, but that's not the at the top of my list of you know priorities as far as gifts. It's like thank you. I don't know. I don't know. Don't trinket me.
And
Don't
melodic,
trinket.
you bringing that up is interesting because I know a very good
Wait,
friend of
I can't hear you, Q. We have like some interference.
you can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Yes.
I have a very good friend of me, and she likes gifts. Like gifts are
Okay.
like number one on her list. And
Really?
yeah, and it's crazy because that's her way of thinking, feeling like you care about her. You show me by gifts. That's like her number one love language. And then probably number five.
I don't know, Q. I really can't hear you again. I think
Uh,
your signal, you're freezing up.
I'm freezing up, Elliot.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Huh. Tighten
Okay.
up,
Okay.
melodic storm.
Oh, shots fired.
Um,
No, honestly though, like this, gifts can be tricky because you may be in a relationship where somebody likes gifts, and then you could be the type of person that's gifts is not important to you, or you may not view it as important to that person, and then it could be an issue. Go ahead, Elliot.
I don't. I don't mind I don't mind giving gifts. My issue with gifts, with gift giving, is I don't want society to dictate what's appropriate or what I should be given just because this is what the day says that you should be giving. Like I feel like a lot of how we view material items is really manufactured for us by television, by media. And when it starts to become that, or you know, I have to break my bank on a Christmas to show you I love you. I have to spend $100 on an overpriced bear that you're gonna like discard maybe 5 days after I buy it for you. But if I don't buy it for you, then I don't love you, or I'm a cheapskate. This is what people do. They try to like shame you into feeling like everything that you do, and then what do you define as a gift?
Mm.
It like because you can buy me a nice shirt, and then you can when I'm in a tight squeeze and I'm in jam, you can lend me $100 for a light bill, or you can do things as a partner where it's not no material item involved with it, but that was very, very important. What you doing something for
Okay.
me, and that I if I don't look at that as a gift, then maybe I should reassess how I view gifts or what I define a gift as.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like it's not relationship based, but like it's like when you're a kid. When you're a kid, your mother, she buys you things on your birthday and everything like that, but on a daily basis, she takes care of you. But as a kid, you're looking at, oh, she got me the sneakers. You ain't thinking about, her taking you to the doctor, her making sure that you're in the best school, her it's things like that, you know what I'm saying, that have people losing sight of what's truly important, not just in like man-woman relationship, but in like in whatever relationship dynamic, friendship dynamic, as well. You know what I'm saying? We have to redefine that because you got people out there really equating relationships or the success or how valuable their partner is based on those things. And I just feel like if that person's out there busting their ass in so many other ways, you got to reassess that.
Absolutely. If all you have to give me is a gift, then you don't have much to give me at all. Give me friendship. Give me
All this time I've
honesty.
been trying to prove my love by buying you everything.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No.
I
Sorry.
mean, I mean,
Sorry.
Treasure, you kind of quiet down there.
I'm very introspective about this type of thing because I've done extensive research on this because I adapt this to my friendships as well because
Mm-hmm.
all friendships are relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's platonic or physical, intimate, it's a relationship. And I think if you apply these somewhat, even in the broadest form, to your relationships, to your friendships, it'll let you understand those people better. And sometimes that group of people, so you can understand why some people don't even get along by just looking at their love languages or what they qualify and what they define these love languages to be. Because for
Mm-hmm.
me, I love to give gifts. I love receiving them as well. But a gift to me is like this. Like you come in the room and it's tea in your hand, and I was just about to come out there and make it, and I didn't have to ask you, I didn't have to tell you, I didn't have to do anything. You just literally brought it for me and was like, here. That is receiving gifts. Like receiving gifts is also words of affirmation. So just coming up with, oh, you wore that to work today, you look so nice. Like it's to me, it's the very little things as far as receiving gifts, because one, we've all been there where we all haven't had it financially. So you have people who are very sentimental. I love to bake. Everyone knows that. I love to cook, period. So everyone knows if I don't have it, I'm gonna make your favorite cookies, cook cake, dessert, whatever, to extend that and at least still show I'm still doing this. I still did this for you. But some people don't receive that as receiving a gift. They want
Mm-hmm.
something like tangible. They wanted something to be able to say, my man, he got me
Mm-hmm.
this, this perfume from Sephora last week, this thing. And some people just do it because they have this physical need, this mental need to feel like that is what they define that to be. And who am I to judge you on that? I don't know. But when you said, it goes back to how we were taught, how we learned. So how you learn something and how you see it, and
Mm-hmm.
what you're accustomed to, can also frame your acts of your love languages. Because that could be her judge right now, and then someone loves her a little different, and it changes,
Mm.
and it becomes something else. Or she learns, because I learned from a friend that I love surprises. I love little shit. If I leave your house and I'm leaving with something I didn't come with, that's a gift to me. So it's, to me, it's the little things. To some people, it's no. You better come through this door with you stuff I like, and it better have cost some money. Some people are
Yeah.
genuinely like that.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said that about you view it in all relationships, because I think that is important too. It's like how some people fall out with each
Mhm.
other. You fell out maybe because you didn't call a person,
Yeah.
maybe you didn't let them know that you're acknowledging what they're doing in their career or what they got going on in their home. And it's just amazing how, like, we go back to communication and just the little things, and being able and understand that love is an action. Like, you
Mhm.
got to foster this piece. Like, you just ain't gonna be telling nobody you love them and you showing them you hate them with your actions.
Mhm.
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that one time for the people in the
I said you
background?
ain't just gonna be telling nobody you love them and then you hate them with your actions.
There you go.
I
And
mean,
I
And
think
it's,
love
that's
it,
why
like
it's so important to be honest. Sorry, Nick.
that who
But
needs it.
and then and then
yeah.
and then for some of us, we've been through so much shit that we don't want to talk. Like, we don't want to hear "I love you, baby." This, baby. Show me, show
Hello.
me, show
My
me.
ears
If
broke
if if,
down.
if I'm the one, if I'm that ish, or I'm that dude in your life, I
Mm,
don't want to hear all that. Show me, show me, show me. You want to
right.
be my protector. I always say this: if you want a woman is only going to allow a man to lead that she trusts. This is just not to go too
So,
far off topic. You got to
woo,
show her.
woo.
You got to show her.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually so okay, I'd like to touch on something else. So we're talking about the five love languages, right?
Mhm.
And I want to touch on our community because I always have to talk about our community. Um I don't know. How do you guys feel about the fact that a lot of males and females seem to, excuse me, hate each other? Or, we have to coexist in order for us to continue to exist. So if you hate females or if you hate males, how do you expect to move forward in life? How do you expect to leave a legacy? What do you expect to teach your children?
You can't. You can't.
Oh,
Um, and to me, it's as simple as that. You can't. But the thing is that that's why it's so important to get out of the attitude of, well, I hate this person, but I need them for sex, because that just entangles you into where you really don't even like who you laying with, but
Right.
you have that physical need that needs to be fulfilled, because a lot of us have no discipline when it comes to sexual stuff, and a lot in the community, sex is pumped. You know, I mean, we're over sexualized
Absolutely.
through the music, through the media, through the things we see in our homes. A lot of us were abused. If you were a young girl, you were abused by men. That sticks with you, and then until you really make peace with that
Right.
as a woman, you're gonna bleed over most men. You're gonna bleed on most men you're with, and the same thing with men. If I'm a man and say you know, I think we all in the beginning, like when I was in high school and I didn't know nothing about love, I'm bringing girls flowers. That's the natural, instinctive thing and way you want to be. until that girl you bought flowers to, all of a sudden she with the captain of the football team, and you sit that stuff sticks with you.
Right.
And it seems ridiculous that something that happens when you're 15 or something, where really she's a little girl, you couldn't expect it more, but that stuff sticks with you, and it becomes the staple and the model for how you engage and interact, and especially if you're emotionally immature. And a lot of us today are emotionally immature. We take our cues from music. We take our cues from our favorite rappers. I remember when Chris Brown dropped "These Hoes Ain't Loyal." If you a 17-year-old young man listening to that, and the girl of your dreams or whatever you saw, off with another dude, that stuff sticks with you.
Right.
And same thing with women, with the stereotypes of, ain't shit men because they dealt with one or two ain't shit men.
Right.
It becomes a whole umbrella put over everybody because of your experiences, and I ain't had nothing to do with it, but yet I'm paying for it when I meet you. So, yeah.
I feel like
I
melodic
think
threw a curveball at the show
a
because
curveball. No, I
and
feel like
look,
I,
listen,
mm,
because melodic knows that this issue right here is literally so bothersome to me.
to both
On
of us.
on a personal level, from what I see,
Mm-hmm.
I see the hatred that a lot of men and women have for each other,
Yep.
and really, I believe it's a sickness. Um, because what happens, I think people forget to continuously be a better person for themselves each day. And what
Absolutely.
they do is they don't realize that they need to grow, and they take that baggage from whatever situation they've been in, and they're bitter. Which being bitter and having resentment is okay to an aspect of I acknowledge I'm bitter. I acknowledge I have resentment, but I'm going to work through it. And I'm going to work and learn how to deal with it and not carry it to the next person. We've gotten to a point where we just have so much bitterness and resentment
Right.
that it's we really hate ourselves, but we take it out on the opposite sex, which is a whole different dynamic.
Well, I
Understanding that when we do have, hold
I
on one
think
second.
huh?
Understanding that when we do have issues from the past, whatever, like I said, it's okay. Just talk about it. Had that communication and being able, like, you know what, I can't handle it. Like Elliot said, that over sexualized is you don't have to be so caught up with trying to hump on something that you taking that baggage from spot to spot, pillar to post, and now you're just leaving a trail of bitterness wherever you go.
it's hard. It's hard not like if you a lot of the bitterness I've seen, a lot of like all my aunts, all my mother's sisters, you know, um, 2, 3 children, no children's father in the picture, had to raise the kids themselves, and they've gotten to a point in their lives, but it took them to be 50 years old to find that peace. But when you're abused and you're left with kids that trusted this person, to have, to be there and help with, and that person leaves you, or they violate you, or they cheat on you, or they beat the shit out of you. If you're a woman, get your ass beat. It's really hard not to internalize that, and it's really hard not to. It affects so many. I mean, women especially. You know, when you open yourself up, you open your heart up at whatever age, and you trust this person in this way, and then you're left alone, probably with a kid that you gotta, like, it's hard not to be, and that's the situation. There's very few people who haven't had it.
Maybe we
You
should
know,
have titled the show "What Is Love?" because a lot of times we be having the fantasy in our head, right? Thinking it's going to be the cat and the dog, two kids, and the picket fence. Thinking you're going to be in this bliss and not deal with life and life's obstacles as a couple.
and they dumping it into the kids. Like I've seen situations. Mother has a child, father not in the picture. Now the child is getting all this information before they even can process anything. They're being inundated with how they should look at the world and how they should view the opposite sex, and don't ever be like your father. And then, like, like you get that real world on the job teaching and molding of how you should be and how you should interact, with the opposite sex, long before you even have to make those decisions yourself.
Treasure.
For me, this part of the conversation, it always hits me, and my advocacy is for the children, because just a big advocate of things like that. If you're going to be it's one thing to be toxic to each other, and it is a whole other thing when you decide, because you have free will as an adult person. These people that we make don't, and you made them. So we're making them, and we're wanting them to be better human beings than we are. I didn't have for my daughter to go through the same generational curses and all the things that I feel like I broke down. I didn't do that. And you have parents who are doing that. And with the fields both myself and Elliot are in, we work very closely in social services, teachers, parents, children. You see it. You see healthy relationships, and you see ones where older siblings are second moms. And then that is a whole other, topic of conversation, because if you are close to a bitter mother, you have had a bitter mother, you now are bitter behind stuff that you have no knowledge of. And that's how I'm learning. That's how also a lot of the children are remaining ignorant to an extent about certain topics, because they were exposed to it in this very linear way. They were never exposed to it, globally, or allowed to research, or allowed to, it was just explained to them this one way. So you have a lot of couples who have no idea what this is, what the five love languages are, and they're actively struggling with these same things every day, trying to figure out, well, you ain't want to touch me yesterday, so I'm gonna be vindictive and I ain't gonna touch you today. Like, and it's these little things, like Melodic said, it's these little things that snowball right into each other, and it can start small. Like, I love him, but he do that one thing. Language is important. Ain't nobody talk about that man but me. Like, if I'm gonna talk crazy, or if I'm gonna complain, it's gonna be me. I'm not gonna allow anybody else to do that. Hence why you also have to learn how to stop allowing outside noise into your situation, and learn how to communicate with your partner first. They gotta hear it first. You could gossip with your good girlfriends after, but they have to hear it first. And I had to learn that. But also having the tough conversations, like we said earlier, that's not gonna be easy. In the moment, I don't want to talk. Don't talk to me. I need my space in that moment. But my partner's not like that. My partner's like, because we not going to sleep like this. So you go sleep bad, I'm going to sleep content, because we gonna figure this out. And that's what we started doing. We don't go to bed with no feelings. Like, we going to bed, love you, sleep time. We don't go to bed with any animosity or anything on us, or any heaviness anymore. We don't do that. And that exponentially changed, how we spoke to each other. Like I said, language is important. If I stub my toe, I'm like, "Yo, you so stupid. You always doing something. You always accent prone. You so silly. Stop. You're not stupid. You're not silly. You stubbed your toe." So little things, little changes in our relationship made a huge impact. Huge impact, because you started to do little things. I'm gonna have a good day. Why? Because I said it. I claimed it. I manifest that. Yeah.
Okay. Melodic, what's up?
Nothing.
Well, you dropped for a second. You back now?
I didn't drop. I was on. I didn't have my camera off, but I was on.
Were you about to say something?
No.
you brought up the subject. What, you don't have nothing to say?
I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Oh. You were saying how you had brought up the subject about how it's men and women in our community are like at each other's throats so much, and how it's affecting us, and why we're not getting nowhere.
Agreed.
Now, another big thing too is watch your friends, and because sometimes I had a situation one time where like in good relationships, you're not around your friends as much as as you can't go out all the time like you used to, or you can't. Some friends really like unless they really like the partner, like they really like the person that you're with, they may be trying to plant seeds in your head to get you to get out the relationship, just so just so they can have more time with you, and they may flood your head with a lot of nonsense. People talking and yapping and opinions on so many fronts is damaging. It's damaging in general, it's, obviously, especially in relationships. Like, and nobody should be entertaining nothing. Nobody got to say about their relationship when they're not there to even have an actual factual account of whatever it is they're saying. Um, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people who have their own agendas and trying to drag people away from each other for their purpose,
Mhm.
for their benefit. So
I say, oh man, I could definitely relate to that. Uh, that's a tough situation. You know, with dealing with that, dealing with having your relationship on social media, because some people, it's funny. I just saw something today where somebody was mentioning that emojis on their mate's page bothers them, and it was basically totally innocent. So, as we discussed the five love languages, anybody else have anything they want to add to it? That's so quiet, man.
Do your research. Do your research. See what works for you. Like Q added his own. I encourage everybody to do something very similar. See, like, because you got to know what works for you. And when Q goes to say that to somebody, he's very finite in his decision making and he knows what that means to him. So, for everybody listening and watching, please do your research. Please, like, learn yourself too first before you start having a conversation with anybody. Don't act as an expert, be a listener. And just be open when you do the research to finding a bunch of things about yourself that you didn't know before.
I'm gonna go back to what Melodic said about counseling. Be open. We never want to feel like we're weak, and acknowledging that I'm not 100% in these areas, particularly in my relationship, is for men and women sometimes a feeling of weakness, and that's what pushes us into a prideful box that doesn't allow us to mature and grow together. Um, but we're all traumatized. We're all hurt. We've all have been violated or violated. Like it's and everybody has to kind of do this like this slow tango around each other around issues that we all have in one way or another. But yet we have to coexist. We have to bring children in this world. We have to keep society going by being together. But you can't effectively be together, you know, not addressing that or having too much pride to say, hey, I need some help. Hey, I'm not who I need to be for myself or for my partner.
Melodic.
Well, I feel like ego and pride have no place in a relationship. What most people don't realize is when you get into a relationship, it's about what you're willing to give and what you'd like to give, not so much about what you receive. If of course if you have the right partner, it'll be a bunch of give and take, and that's a great thing. It can be a great thing. But yes, absolutely. I think that when you do recognize that your relationship is suffering, then you should seek out alternative methods to try and fix whatever's broken. When you're sick, you go to the doctor and get medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your relationship is broken, if it's sick, fix it. Especially if you're in a committed relationship and you're putting forth the effort to be together, hopefully forever. That's supposed to be the ideal situation, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if you're taking your time and not taking your partner for granted and doing those little things, I don't necessarily feel like you can think in terms of forever or this is going to be forever or whatever the case. But I do believe just taking time every day, give your partner a kiss when you're leaving the house. You know what I'm saying? When you know they've had a tough day, instead of them cooking dinner, make sure dinner's cooked when they get home. You know
Agreed.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Agreed.
little things. The house is a wreck. You know that person's tired. You clean up that day. You know what I'm saying? Like people get into these whole gender roles and what a man should be doing and what a woman should be doing, but it's really everybody should be doing everything. Be willing to do everything. Be willing to step in
Mm-hmm.
and assume that responsibility. When your partner is hindered in
Uh,
some way.
It's a group effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no I in team.
Well, I have no final thoughts, you guys. You guys summed it up. It's nothing else I could say. Um, Communication is important. Communication is paramount. Communication might be number one. I think that Dr. Chapman for said absolutely great book, and I think that it's definitely like Treasure said that for most couples that don't understand it and don't even know nothing about the love language, if they was to see the broadcast or ever find out about it, is to maybe explore it and have that conversation with their mate and discuss it, because it is a possibility that one of the love languages might be important to you, but might not be important to your mate, and that might be the root of some of the confusion that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Well, this gives us another great episode of Conversations with Friends. Elliot, Treasure, we appreciate you guys
Thank
joining the show
you.
as
Thank you.
usual. You
Thank
guys are the best. With that, everybody have a safe night and take care and see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
Conversations with friends.